Welcome to the Millionaire Mindcast, where we broadcast weekly interviews with millionaire minds from across the globe to empower you on your journey of unlocking a rich and fulfilling life. It's time to unleash your millionaire within. Now, here's your host, Maddie A.
Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Millionaire Mindcast, the show that focuses on all things, you know what? Maybe you don't, unless you're a new listener here. Mindset, money, and motivation to help you increase your income, impact, and influence. And I'm sure if you are a returning listener, you're looking for more nuggets, more knowledge, more success tips, disciplines, and habits from the millionaires that we get to interview on this show. And if you're new, you're probably attracted to the Millionaire Mindcast because of maybe it's the word millionaire, maybe it's the lifestyle, maybe it's the freedom. But on this show, whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee, I cover all kinds of inspirational and informative topics that are important for living a healthy, wealthy, legendary life. And I believe, honestly, the best way of doing that, the greatest hack that is out there today is podcasts, is mastermind groups, is conferences and events where we can get in front of these people. These closed door conversations that were not accessible before are now available, right? To be able to hear and to really implement some of the same things that people are doing that you want to achieve, that you want to have these kind of conversations nowadays is absolutely amazing. So I'm grateful that you're here. Whether I'm in your earbuds right now, whether I'm playing through the stereo in your car or, the Echo Dot or whatever it is, I'm grateful that you guys are here pouring into yourself and looking for some new mind-bending knowledge. And I'm going to give you that today. So we have an awesome show. But before we jump into our guest, Miss Tana Goertz, which I'll tell you a little bit about here in 1 second. If you haven't done so already, be sure to get the download of the month, the top 50 millionaire recommended reads. It's a list that I've compiled from all of our top recommended books from the millionaire guests that I've had on the show. So if you're looking for some new reading material, feel free to check this out, download it. It's free. All you got to do is text Millionaire Books, all one word, Millionaire Books, no spaces, to 44222. It'll ask you for your email and it'll pop it right back into your inbox. And there's some great books on there. I've read every single one of them, and I can tell you they've expanded not only my knowledge, but given me some information that has empowered me to break through that 7-figure milestone and beyond, and some great reads. So today we got Tana Goertz, and like I said, a very high energy person. She brings the energy everywhere she goes. And that's honestly what got her national attention when she got selected for the Apprentice. I think it was the first season. She was on there for 18 weeks. And that led her into, whether you like them or not, I'm going to leave all political judgment aside, that led her to being the senior advisor to the Donald J. Trump presidential campaign when he got elected. And whether you like Donald J. Trump, whether you judge her for being associated with Donald J. Trump, their success leaves clues, right? And so no judgment, being open, learning from someone who's have this kind of success, but also someone who can attract and get on the inside, kind of inner circle of someone of that caliber, obviously says a lot about Tana. And you're going to see why. We talk a lot about, she shares a ton of tips and knowledge on how to succeed in business and life as a professional speaker, as a radio broadcaster. And she educates and motivates and inspires people based on how she shows up every day. And that's one thing that I really loved about her. But she talks about how she handles criticism, right? Being associated with someone like that, a polarizing figure like the president. She shared a lot of information that I thought was really insightful, because I think a lot of people, we judge ourselves, we judge other people, we think what other people are going to think of us, right? And that impacts a lot of what we do and why we do it. And her response and her, how she handled, that presidential campaign, and obviously, she still gets a lot of criticism, is very admirable and inspiring. So definitely listen to that part of the episode. We talked about how do you parlay one opportunity into the next, which I thought was really interesting, because she has done just that, where she's gone from win, to win, to win, to win. And so she talked about using that momentum to keep going, right? And we talked about characteristics, disciplines, habits that make her unique, that you might be able to adopt or mold into your own, unique, mission or pattern or, habits that you're focusing on. And overall, just a great conversation with Tana. And I think you guys are going to get some really awesome information from this interview. So, with that being said, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and dive in to my interview with millionaire Tana Goertz right after these messages. One of the biggest mistakes most entrepreneurs and small businesses make: not staying on top of their finances and accounting. Can you relate? Well, thanks to FreshBooks, this part of your business doesn't have to be a thorn in your side any longer. I think we can all agree the working world has changed, and with the growth of the internet and today's new business landscape, more and more people are going into business for themselves, becoming small business owners and entrepreneurs. And FreshBooks is a premier accounting software that will simplify and organize all of these needs for you. FreshBooks and their all-new version of their cloud accounting software has been redesigned from the ground up and custom built for entrepreneurs and business owners just like you and I. It's ridiculously easy to use, and it's also packed with powerful features that make it so you no longer need to be a CPA or a financial guru to stay on top of your numbers. Whether you want to create and send professional-looking invoices in less than 30 seconds, set up online payments to get paid from your clients faster, tracking client invoices and accounting, the list goes on, FreshBooks has your name all over it. And the great thing is they're gracious enough to offer a 30-day unrestricted free trial to all my listeners. So go ahead and claim it. Just go to freshbooks.com/Mindcast and enter Millionaire Mindcast in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Have you been wanting to get a mentor but don't know where to start or how to find one? Then come check out the Millionaire Mentors Mastermind. 5 years ago, I was in the exact same boat. I wanted to take my life and my business to that next level, but the challenge was I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to be able to do that. Then one day, someone started telling me that if I wanted to accelerate my success, I needed to get a mentor. Well, fast forward to today, I've had many world-class mentors who have played a major role in my success and development over the years. Not only did my mentors help me hit my goals faster, they shared resources with me that I didn't have access to at the time. They helped me avoid the mistakes I most likely would have made without their guidance. They allowed me to tap into their network and build relationships with people that would have most likely taken years to develop. But most importantly, they inspired me to think bigger, get clearer, and held me accountable to taking action. Like Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to become a millionaire, then start surrounding yourself with other millionaires, right? If you want to have a successful business, surround yourself with other successful business owners that you can learn from. Whatever it is that you desire out of life, surrounding yourself with the right network of people who have the resources and experience that you lack at that time will be critical to your success. But here's the challenge. Most people don't know where to find a mentor or how to even gain access to them. Well, with the Millionaire Mentors Mastermind, that's no longer a challenge you have to worry about. Learn more at www.millionairementorsmastermind.com or text the word millionaire to 44222. That's millionairementorsmastermind.com or text the word millionaire to 44222. Now back to the show. Well, welcome into the show, Tana Goertz. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Matt?
Good. I got to say, actually, I'm a little bit jealous because, you have a very busy schedule, and I'm actually thankful you fit me into that schedule today, but I'm jealous you're going to hang out at the White House. You're going to go have all kinds of holiday fun, and you're just going to leave me in behind, hanging out on this podcast, but at least I get you for the next hour. So how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I'm great. This is a wonderful day.
Very cool. Well, I know people are like, what? She's going to hang out with the president? Well, who is this woman? So I want to unpack a little bit about who you are, what you've done, and obviously how you've been able to surround yourself with people like the President of the United States. But I would love, first and foremost, to just get a little bit of a backdrop on, who you are, where you came from.
Okay, it sounds good. I am the second oldest of five kids, and we're an Italian family. I grew up back east, and I've had some struggles in my life, that led me to being a divorced mother of two small children. And I ended up living in my parents' basement for a brief period of time. That led me to learn a lot about myself and learn a lot about noticing red flags in life. That I have a whole presentation on both of those, but in a nutshell, I am an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. I realized very early in life that I liked having my own money and I liked being my own boss and I liked creating my own destiny. So I've never had a boss in my life, and I enjoyed that very much. I am a saleswoman. I've always excelled at that. And so at the end of the day, I have been an entrepreneur, like I said, and I love selling, and I ended up going on the show The Apprentice. There's a lot of backstory there, but nothing was given to me. It's not like the phone rang and it was Mark Burnett saying, "Hey, I want to cast you on this show." I had to, kick a lot of people, a lot of hard work to get there. I've had to put out great content in order for Mark Burnett to see me. And I was blessed to be cast on that show. And I succeeded well on that show, became the runner-up. And from there, I parlayed every opportunity in my life into something bigger and better, and I never rest on my laurels.
I love it. Never, one of my great mentors always said, never read your own press clippings. Always keep moving to the next, right? And you've got a lot of next. You've parlayed your successes into new opportunities, which I want to get a little bit more of the story there, because I know you got a lot of exciting ones. I'm just curious, how did you get on The Apprentice? Did you just say one day, go, you know what, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a hustler, I want to see what I can do on the show? Or how did that all kind of roll out?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, so I said I ended up being a divorced mother of two, single parent instantly. I had to voluntarily sign up for that job, and I didn't want to, but I was always an entrepreneur, and I had the lid put on me from my first husband, and he didn't want me to let my light shine, and he kind of stifled me, and I allowed that, and that's my fault. But I never finished college, and that was my biggest regret in life, because I was gifted in having a good brain and being able to learn well, and I had parents that offered me the opportunity to go to college, and I was on track, but he convinced me to leave school and start a family, and I could go back later, blah, 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 whatever. I never did. So it was my biggest regret. And I always felt like, gosh, could I be better if I had a college degree? I just felt like I needed validation for that. And I happened to be watching season 1 of The Apprentice, and I loved the show. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do that so much better. And I called my mother and I'm like, Mom, you got to watch the show. I love it. The America's business icon, Donald Trump, is firing people right in his boardroom. This is so intense. And I thrive off of intense situations, and I'm a huge competitor. And I will plow a person down to get the prize. And so I was just like, oh my God, this is right up my alley. And my mother called me and said, oh my gosh, Tana, you've got to go on that show. And I was like, well, how the hell would I get cast on that show? I'm sure a lot of people applied. But I started asking people in the industry, producers, hey, how do I get noticed? Because I want to go on this show. Back in the day, back 12 years ago, we had VHS tapes. That's how we got cast. So I had to make a good video to stand out. And I did just that. And you can have your, people YouTube Tana Goertz audition video, or they can see it on my website. And that was the video that literally changed my life forever. But the secret to the video was I did the complete opposite of what the majority of the contestants did.
Right.
So I highlighted my strengths, which were selling. And I highlighted, something that I have that most people don't have, and that's high energy. It's not drug induced. I always have to say that. So many people are on drugs. And so Burnett was like, whoa, find me that woman. And then, there was 100 more hurdles that I had to jump through. But that was really the beginning of, and I thought to myself, I didn't want a job really working for anybody else. I just wanted to win, and I wanted the money. I wanted the prize money of $250,000. But I wanted to say to myself, okay, guess what? You made it. You didn't need the college degree. Okay, pat on my shoulder, yeah.
Right. It was kind of that chip on your shoulder a little bit that you needed to prove to yourself, hey, I don't need a degree to do this.
And I was competitive. I was okay, 18 people will get cast. I want to win this, and I want to win the money. And
I love it.
No, and it was amazing. And so Burnett casted me. I went on, and I was in Trump's boardroom the very first time, and I immediately liked the guy. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to be a sponge, and I'm going to absorb every single bit of advice that this man could teach me. Like I'm here to learn, I'm here to kick ass, and I'm here to win. That's really what it was. I didn't need any more friends. I had left 2 small babies at home. I had gotten remarried to the man of my dreams who let me go. He's a local celebrity here in the state of Iowa where I live. He's a meteorologist, and he's on TV every single night. He's a tornado specialist. He's the man of my dreams, my prince. And I came home and said, hey, listen, like I want to apply to go on the show. And you know what that means? If I apply, I'm going to get it. They're going to pick me. I'll probably win this damn thing. And we're going to all be moving to New York. I'm cool with that.
I love the confidence too, that you already knew this before you even applied.
Right. I knew that they'd pick me. And he was like, well, of course, baby, I'll support you. Thinking it was like winning the lottery. Like, who the hell's going to pick me? And they did cast me, and I made it all the way to the end. And it was amazing. It was like literally amazing. Changed my life forever.
So what were some of the greatest lessons that you did learn from the boardroom, whether it was from Donald Trump or from other people sitting around that boardroom, or maybe it was just, out in the competition of the show? What were some of your biggest takeaways now looking back on, man, that has really stuck with me and served me at a really high level?
Yes. Well, and I learned mostly from Trump. One, speed kills. And I always thought that was like in race car driving, because my son's a race car driver. I thought, yeah, speed does kill, but literally speed kills. If you can't tell me what you do, or you can't write it on the back of my business card, guess what? You don't know what you do. So it was all about like, he told me, he said, Tana, what you can say in 15 seconds, it takes my competitor 15 minutes to say. So get to your point and get there fast. I learned that, and that was very valuable. He also taught me that there's no room or place for emotions in the boardroom. Like ladies and men that do cry, leave your emotions at home. Like go cry in the bathroom, cry to your mother, but don't you go crying at work, because that just shows weakness. That I learned. And never point out your flaws. Like so many of my competitors would say stuff like, oh, well, Tana, like maybe you should do the presentation since you're a professional speaker, because like I'm not a really good speaker. And so they'd show that they're insecurities. And then guess what? I got to kick your butt. So I'm going to throw you out to do the speech in front of the executors, because they're going to say you sucked and you're going to get fired. And that's what happened. And so people would like point out their flaws and their weaknesses, like, well, I'm not really good with the money. And then when it was time for like the accountant, who's going to be the accountant? Everybody would go, her. And then she'd suck at that job and she'd get fired. And so it's like, tighten it up. Don't tell me what you're no good at. And there's just so many lessons. It was so valuable.
So do you love to win more or hate to lose more?
I love to, well, gosh, let's see. That's a really good question. I don't know if I answer it right, because I hate to lose, but I love to win. So how would you answer that?
It's which one do you love more or hate more?
I love to win more.
Okay.
I was the runner-up and I didn't win it. But then when I compare notes with the lady who won, she was like, oh my gosh, like clearly you won. Because I got a commercial deal out of that thing. I did the bedazzler and went ape crazy for this bedazzler, that puts rhinestones on your clothes. And they called me and they hired me. And literally that product did over $4 million in sales. And I got royalties for every one of them that sold. So, losing, becoming the runner-up, I actually did win, but I love to win.
I like that. I like that. I would say that I love to win as well, but I think I hate losing more. But I can say that the losses that I've experienced have honestly been my greatest launching pad to the next learning opportunity or success. And But man, winning is just so sweet, right?
That's why when we get to the part about the election, I was like, man, we're winning this thing. Like there's no excuse. Like we have to win this thing. And that was my goal, was to get him into the White House, but I don't want to jump ahead.
I was going to say, I like the teaser, but we got some more stuff to cover before we get there.
We got a couple more chapters.
So you obviously had some great success in the space. You started, getting a lot more exposure to your personal brand. Was this something that you went into it going, hey, I want to become a public figure and a personal brand specialist and, become this massive personality, or did it just kind of unfold that way?
That's an excellent question. And a lot of people ask that. And no, actually, I was very naive to the process. I was there to win the prize and be able to say, I was the first female apprentice. So like I said, didn't really want to work for Trump, didn't really want the job, didn't want to be famous, didn't even think that was going to happen. I mean, I was very naive, and my husband should have told me that, but he didn't. And so I went on national television. I was on for 18 weeks and I was 100% completely authentic. I wasn't sitting there like a lot of the females on the show did say. I was there for a modeling career. I was there to launch my, they had other endeavors. So they were smart enough to go like, I'm going to strategize and use this for my business and my brand. But I wasn't doing that. I was there, like I said, to win. But what came after being on national television for 18 weeks, I had 77 job opportunities when I came back from New York. The first was the Bedazzler CEO saying, like, hello, you brought this product back to life. It was dead and buried in the 70s. We want you to be the spokesperson. And then other businesses that were like, say, for example, an energy drink was like, hey, can we say that you drink our drink and that's why you have all this energy? I'm like, oh, yes, if you want to pay me a lot of money, I'll say that. And then, not to be a hypocrite, I drink the drink. But so there was just like all these businesses going like, we love that that's a woman and she's kicking major butt and she's not afraid or authentic. She's not afraid or being like disingenuous and saying like, I want to take you down and it's a competition and I want your spot. So a lot of businesses hired me instantaneously to say, fire up or motivate our employees. Like they need some motivation. These people are coming to work and they're not like selling. And so I loved that aspect that being on the national stage got me instant, like I never had to send a resume ever.
Yeah, credibility for days.
Yeah, when Donald Trump says you're a good presenter, like there's no more resume tapes, like the phone rings, and that's a blessing.
Right.
And so from that, I got off the show and immediately was like, whoa, like I'm a public figure now. I have opportunities coming that I now get to pick and choose. That, a Fortune 500 company will pay me $10,000 an hour to step on stage. I'm sorry to the local Chamber of Commerce, I'm not going to be able to take your $500 check. So that was a wonderful luxury. But what I did from that moment on is I just gave gratitude to Donald Trump and Mark Burnett saying, thank you for choosing me out of like 1 million people applied. Like, thank you, Donald Trump, for giving me these tasks so I could shine. And so I had an attitude of gratitude. And I kept saying, he changed my life forever. And so he did that by letting me shine. Well, I shined myself, but he gave me the platform. And then the opportunities started laying themselves out. So in answer to your question, no, I never wanted to, have a lot of followers. I never thought, because followers don't put food on your table or shoes on my feet, but guess what? Now they do. And so, now a follower might say, hey, I work at this organization and we're looking for a professional speaker. And then they know I'm friends with the president and they go, she must be a lot of money. And then they find out I am, and then they still hire me. So it's a good thing.
That's a good problem to have. So when when you see people put themselves out there, right, or be their authentic selves, and this could be in a personal setting, it could be in a professional setting, that can be a scary thing to a lot of people. And yet you see the people that do that and do it all out, right? They play full out in their true authentic self. Oftentimes that leads to polarity, right? And people either love you or they don't like you. Right. But at the same time, that can serve you at a really high level. Because like what you said, right? Brand awareness, people are saying, I love this woman. She's aligned with energy, right? We're an energy drink, or amazing presenter, we need blah, blah, blah. So I love that you did that, because I think it served you and the growth of your business, and really parlaying into other opportunities at a really high level. How did you handle the criticism, right? And what's your recommendation to people that are scared to maybe really open up their authentic self to people in a professional setting or a personal setting, whatever it may be? And what's your advice on that, and how you handled, based on your experience, maybe some of the criticism that came along with that experience?
Sure. Well, I've always had a thick skin. So you have to have a thick skin if you ever want to be a public figure, or you want to put yourself out there, because at the end of the day, like not everybody's going to like you. So
What? Not everybody's going to like you? Oh.
Oh, spoiler alert. I've always been a very polarizing individual because I'm very direct. I speak and think like a man. I had a psychologist tell me this. I'm a woman, but I speak and think like a man. There's hardly any emotion in me. So at the end of the day, you can't care what anybody thinks about you. And I'm a business coach, and I love that part of my job. Is I love the one-on-one, like infusing energy and confidence into you and making you go be your best is one of my favorite things. But I'm running out of time. There's only so much time in the day, and I can do that for a couple $100, and that's just as gratifying as standing on a stage in front of 5,000 people, but the pay is a little different. So but I love doing that for one-on-one. And what I tell people is, you can't win at this game if you're afraid. So, like, for example, I put out videos on Instagram, even though I'm a public figure, and I was the spokesperson for the Trump campaign, and I'm supposed to have this professional, polished corporate person image. I'm not corporate America. I'm an entrepreneur. I've always said, don't work in those corporate cubicles. Get yourself out of that shitty job. Like, go be your own boss. So I'm not that person that people want to put me in a box. Like, business managers have wanted to keep me in a little box. And when I got off The Apprentice, an agent of mine said, we're not going to keep you if you're going to go and endorse a $19 cheap piece of plastic. And I said, later, because guess what? I love to bedazzle, and I'm going to do it out of my way. So you can't win at this game if you're afraid. So what I was going to say is, I just put videos out on Instagram of me acting a fool, showing my childlike nature. I'm in a bikini in Hawaii doing headstands and warrior poses that I look like a complete imbecile, but people love it. And they're like, I wish I could do that. Like, you're so fearless. And it's really, I only do that to show my followers and my fans that you can succeed being you. Don't try to fake being anything else. And so really, if I were coaching you, I'd say, Matt, you're never going to succeed if you're afraid of what the haters think. I have people saying, I hate your teeth. You've got Mr. Ed Horse teeth, which, I do have big teeth, but guess what? I love my teeth.
I like your teeth too.
But you got horse teeth, and your voice is too deep, or they don't like me for whatever reason. That's fine. I really don't care what anybody thinks. And a lot of people have that fear of they want to please everybody, and you just can't win it if you're worried about what other people think.
Yep. And I that resonates with me so much, because you see that limit a lot of people's potential. And when you get and that's why the people that are leaving the nasty comments or, trolling people on the internet, they're still following what those people are doing. If you hate that person so much, you don't like them, why do you still follow them? Well, it's because they're polarizing. So there's something magnetic about that person. And I remember one of my business coaches told me, if you're your true self, right? Not everybody's going to like you, but the best thing that you can do is by being your true self, you're either going to repulse people or you're going to attract them like the strongest magnet in the world. And the people you attract are the people you want to be aligned with, doing business with, serving at a high level. And the people you repulse by being your true authentic self are the people you want to avoid anyways.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm like a magnet. The people that are positive, because I'm a very positive person, they come right to me. But literally, when I go to, say, an event where I'm speaking, and at my book signing table, like, say I'll see somebody at the audience, like, man, he's a good looking guy, or she's a beautiful woman. I hope that they come to meet me, or, take a selfie afterwards, or buy a book, or whatever the case may be. And they never come to me. I sit there and go, wow, like, there must be an energy and alignment. So I'm going to guess, since I know I'm super positive, they must be a hater or they must be negative or whatever. So every now and again, I'll try myself out with the event coordinator and be like, hey, you know, the good looking guy in the burgundy shirt that was sitting in the front row, like, what's his story? And they're like, oh my gosh, he's the biggest SOB. He's cheating on his wife. He's got a girlfriend here at the thing. And I'm talking about like, be good and do the right thing, and God is watching, and karma's a bitch. And
yeah, you're like, he's like, yeah, that doesn't resonate with me at all.
Like, he probably thinks I can see the, you know, the guilt in him. So he hated me like the plague. And so I'm always about, hey, I want to attract like-minded individuals that want to do good, be good, and spread love. And that's what I like to attract. And so people hate me all day long. I probably have 2 emails right now on my page, or my email from my website, just saying I didn't like, you know.
Something you said or did, right? That pissed somebody off and ruined their whole day. It's all your fault.
Right. So I don't really care.
No, I love that, because I really believe that by showing up, I'm a big believer in be your own best success story. If you're a public figure, if you're someone who's selling a product, a course, a training, whatever it may be, whatever you're shouting, you know, from the mountaintops, you better be living, preaching, being on a daily basis. Because in my opinion, there's a lot of people in this educational space, public figure space that aren't that, right? That are, that have the knowledge and have internalized the knowledge, but haven't internalized the habits and the disciplines and the things that make that life a reality, right? So I think by seeing someone like you, and not only your track record, but how you show up every day, it gives other people permission to do that themselves that may not necessarily feel comfortable doing it in that moment, maybe. So that's one thing I really like about you.
Well, thank you. And I will say this, that my business manager does the impressions, so he can tell like which post of mine was a hit and which one was a miss. And he's like, oh my gosh, people love your videos. Like, they love when you're stupid. They love when, you know, like, so in one of the Instagram videos, I'm in a guy's pair of Nike shorts. He was swimming in the pool. I'm in this skimpy bikini. My ass is hanging out, and I wanted to do these poses. So I'm like, literally, clearly, I'm 50. I can't be having my ass hang out in poses, because I'm going like upside down and whatnot. So I grabbed the guy's shorts, put them on. They're like 20 sizes too big, and I'm in this video doing these poses, and my business manager's like, oh my God, they love it. Like, people can't get enough of it, because I'm being real and I'm being stupid and I'm laughing at myself and having a great time. And so proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
And the numbers show that people like authentic people.
Yep. So note to self, anybody that wants to get more exposure on their videos, go steal someone else's basketball gym shorts, 20 sizes too big, throw them on and act goofy, right?
That's stupid. Yeah. Exactly.
So you had some awesome success after the show, which it seemed like we talked about this before, which I just really like this concept, because I'm a big believer in this myself, is, you know, it takes so much effort and energy, and really there's a lot of uncertainty in the journey to finding kind of that first opportunity, right? There's for a lot of people, right? It's something that takes some time to go, this is it. This is a big opportunity, that this could be a game changer for me, right? And then looking back, oftentimes it is.
Yes.
But oftentimes people are the one-hit wonders, or they rest on their laurels, like we talked about. And one of the concepts that we were kind of masterminding, chatting on, which I really appreciated and I think is an opportunity and available to anybody with the right mindset and intentionality behind it, is parlaying one opportunity into the next, until you start seeing those things compound. And then you're hanging out and getting invited to go have dinner with the President of the United States this weekend, right?
Yes, exactly. And, you know, a lot of people go, cool, man, I'm a public figure. I was on the #1 hit reality TV show back in the day when it was. That's awesome. And then they come home, and a lot of my friends did this. They went back to their hometowns and went, wait, the phone's not ringing. Well, the phone didn't ring, 1, because you didn't make it to the final 2. And 2, you didn't put yourself out there so that the world could see who you were and go, I want to hire that.
Right.
And 3, it's your job to keep the momentum going. So the momentum for me, I came back, I started hitting the circuit. I was out on every stage imaginable. I had my own radio show so that people could get a little more of my voice. and understand, wow, like she's really different here. Like that's something we maybe want to bring into our corporation or whatever. And so people sit back and rest on their laurels and nothing happens. And now their momentum is stopped. They're done. Like now you got to go get it reinvigorated. It's like a snowball going down the hill. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now you're like, holy crap, the whole world knows me. Like, this is insane. Now what do I do with that? So after, well, I don't want to get ahead, but, so say I rested on my laurels that, I helped President Trump get into the White House. Sit back and wait for my phone to ring. Yeah, it'd ring maybe a couple of times, get a couple great gigs. But now what? The whole world knew me. Now it's my job to keep it going, to keep the momentum going. And so you can't rest on your laurels. And some people do and say, hey, that was enough. But I say, dream really big. And then like nothing can get you up there. If if you have the biggest dream in the entire world, you haven't achieved it. Like I keep dreaming like, okay, that was great. Yeah, I was the finalist on the hit television show. Cool. And the next thing, I was on Fear Factor, got to meet Joe Rogan. Big deal. Okay, that was thrilling. Okay, big deal. I got TiVo for life I got $10,000. Okay. Best thing that came out of that was meeting Twyla Tanner from Survivor. But, so that wasn't enough. And then, getting to have my first employer be Donald Trump. Okay, cool. That's great. Get him into the White House. Great. But that wasn't enough. So it's like, you got to keep the ceiling and the bar so high that you're never satisfied. But a lot of people go, yeah, I'm satisfied. Like, for example, I married my high school sweetheart. That's what I've always wanted. Well, crap, why don't you want to marry a supermodel if you're a guy? Like, what about Giselle? You didn't ever think like set the bar so high that unless you marry Giselle, you haven't made it. That's kind of how I live my life.
It's funny. I was at a conference not too long ago, and one of the gentlemen who was delivering his presentation he calls the standard. He calls it really where he sets the bar. He calls it, if it doesn't have the pucker effect, then it doesn't belong in his life. And I was like, well, what the hell is the pucker effect, dude? And he's like, when I tell people my goals or my standards in life, it makes their butt pucker. Oh! And I was like, wow, but here's the thing. When I actually kind of reflected and sat with that for a second, I thought about it, because most people who set goals, if they were to tell you their goals, which most people don't even set goals, right? But if they were to say, here are my goals, you probably wouldn't go, oh my gosh, you're not going to do that. That's astronomical. That's out of this world. Well, that just was proof right there to me that the majority of the people who do set goals is we set them to a very achievable low standard instead of, or what John Maxwell says, right? And those that are familiar with John Maxwell and leadership and his brand, he calls them God goals, where you set the goal so high that there's room in there to where God has to show up in order for you to hit those things, right? And I think we could all agree that, and anybody listening right now has probably set a goal at some point in their life, whether it's personal or professional, where they didn't think it was achievable. They did it and they went, wow, that was awesome. Now what's next? Yes, right?
Exactly. And I agree with John Maxwell. God incidences is what I call them. It's not coincidence that I got on the show. It's not coincidence that out of 1 million people, there was 18 casts and I was one of the final 2. That was all a God thing, because he knew I'd come home from that experience and I would go out and spread love and positivity and encourage people to dig deep and to be their best. He knew I was going to use it for a good thing. I wasn't going to use it and start selling drugs or something with my name.
Right.
So I believe that he shows up, and I believe that God is never wrong too. And I tell everybody that I coach, I don't care if you're an atheist or if you're a Christian or whoever you are or whatever you are. In my world, God is never wrong. So when he shut the door for me to win that thing, that was a God thing, and I had to accept it. And so when he opens up the door and says, listen, I'm going to put you on the most polarizing, the most dangerous political presidential campaign that has ever existed in the entire world, and you will have to carry a gun the rest of your life, as you will have to have security out in front of your house. I trusted that God put that all into place because it was a God incident. So
let's talk about that for a minute. So how did that, because there was many doors that led to that door. So how did that door open, and how did you determine whether or not you wanted to walk through the door?
great question. How did the door open is two reasons. And short answer to both of those are for the 12 years I was off The Apprentice. I was on it season 3, which was in 2005. And in 2016, he decides he's going to run. And for the 11 years, I think that's what it was, I had been speaking great things of him. He changed my life. He put food on my table. He made me known. He gave me all these opportunities. When I stepped on every stage, I gave thanks to the lessons that I learned from Donald Trump that have allowed me to be here today. Every speech. And so he is a very, very aware human being. He knows everything that's happening in the news. He knows everything that's on the Twitter feed. He sees my stuff and he was just like, wow, like Tana literally has thanked me for this opportunity that I somewhat gave her. He didn't call me out of the blue and say, get on the show, nor did he let me excel, but he gave me the platform. So attitude of gratitude, he thought of me. And I am a public figure, across the world. But in Iowa, we don't have real celebrities. We don't have movie stars. We don't have professional football teams. So walking around town, I'm a big deal. I'm a big fish in a little pond. So everybody in this state knows me, and he needs to win the state of Iowa to be the president. Who better than the pitch person, and who better than the best saleswoman he's ever met to sell America, especially Iowa, on the fact that they should vote for Donald Trump? That's the answer to the first question. The answer to the second question was really tricky. Tana, I want you to put your 3 careers on hold. I want you to say goodbye to your radio show. I want you to quit going on national stages and making lots of money. And I want you to quit personal coaching, business coaching, young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that want to take their business to the next level. Would you do that for a very small little bit of money per month? So I had to think about it because I'm like, wow, what I could make in one speech, I made in 1 month working on the campaign, because we were a very lean campaign. And I had to ask myself, do I want to make history with Donald Trump? And do I want to have Donald Trump's cell phone number on my phone? And do I want to have Donald Trump always knowing that I am the reason that he won the swing state of Iowa? And without Iowa, you are not the president. And I said, hell yes, I do. And I just said, you know what? It's a short period of time. And to be able to have a Trump card like President Trump is everything. And I am always pushing to learn more and to be better. And I didn't know a damn thing about politics. I never voted in my life. I didn't know what a caucus was. I thought it was a bad word for a male genitalia. And they're like, you're gonna like be the face of this campaign. And I'm like, wait, what? I don't know a damn thing. So I learned a new profession very quickly. And I love forcing myself to have to do that. It's hard as hell, I'm not gonna lie. But guess what? Now I have politicians wanting to hire me to do what I did for Trump. And I'm like, hell no. I do it for one guy and one guy only. Well, I might lie. I might take that back. I'd probably do it for Vice President Pence, because he's a great guy, a wonderful character. But all these other people, I'm just like, to my business manager, tell them no, not interested, because I hated, I repeat, hated politics.
I think it shows your ability to adapt and pivot and to, kind of revamp as needed. You're almost, I don't want to say you're a chameleon but you can adapt to climates and strategies and landscapes and industries as needed in order to thrive. And you've obviously done it at a really high level. So if you were to say you had 1 or 2 superpowers, what would those be? Superpowers. Oh man. What are unique characteristics and qualities about you that you believe you do better and or make you that unique individual than anybody else out there?
Well, I'm a great problem solver. I'm fearless. So those are two huge things. Most people get stuck in paralysis by analysis, trying to figure it out. I'm like, no, like, let's just go.
All right.
So I'm really, really good at problem solving. And kind of what I did with this political realm is, so all these people were political gurus. And then there's me, and they're like, oh, please, she's just the chick that was on his show, The Apprentice, and that's why she's here and whatever. And I'm like, move over. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and I'm going to treat this like a business. Donald Trump is the product I need to sell and pimp. Get the hell out of my way. And that's I sold and pimped him like you cannot believe. And Iowa fell in love with this man. And so it's really just strategizing. What are my strengths? My strengths aren't talking about the demographics of the Republican Party and knowing, what caucus people need to go to and how to strategize the whole process. Like, it was lingo that was like, I couldn't even understand it. It was completely foreign. But what I did know was Donald Trump, because I was the only one that knew him. What I did know is his heart. What I did know is his love of this country. What I did know is his family. And I went out there like a mouthpiece that was just, like I said, I was pimping him like I don't know your audience, so I'll behave. But so, my superpowers are just, I have tenacity. I don't quit. Until the election night, I was leaving no stone unturned. I didn't want to trust anybody with my reputation. I had to go on live TV up against all these political Democrats that wanted to kill me, and they were speaking the language and I wasn't. And I was just out there being real and just telling people what I knew about President Trump and why he'd be a good president. So I don't really know what I would have for superpowers, because I really don't. I just plow through and get the job done, and I do it well. And I'm an executor, I'm an executor.
Well, ideas don't become realities without execution. So I would say you've done pretty damn good at that. And you're curious, has any new doors opened because of your success with the campaign?
Yes. So one, I was offered a job working in the administration at the Department of Commerce. And I said, no, thank you. I absolutely hated it. I had to work a small, brief period of time in DC for his political or presidential inaugural committee, where I had bosses and bureaucratic bullcrap where, we couldn't get a pencil brought in without, well, hang on, now let's get it to the next level and the next level. And we're going to have to check with Matt and see if Matt can approve. Give me a damn pencil. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, I get stuff done. And so it's like, I didn't want to be in a box. I didn't want to be in a cubicle. I didn't want to be in a boring government building with gray ass walls. And so I as soon as the offer came, no, thank you. Like, no questions asked. And I told the president, I said, here's the deal. I need to be out with people. I need to be an entrepreneur. I need to be working my businesses. And he said, you go do it. You need to be with the people. I'm going to hire you for the reelection. Would you do that? And I said, I would, but hey, that's a few years away. And so, yes, that came, and that was very easily for me to say no. And then I've had businesses hire me to be consultants for them and look at strategies and like, hey, what's working, what's not working, communication mostly, branding mostly, and then just using my relationship with the president to help let the president become aware of some issues that are very important to their industry. And so those have been huge blessings, but I'm looking forward to just doing what I do best. And that's inspiring people and stepping on stage and making people better. And that's what I love. And that's really what my gifts are.
I would 100% agree with that. And in the short amount of time that I've been able to spend with you, you're one of those people. You talked a little bit about energy, and you're one of those people that your energy is infectious. You make me smile. You obviously are adding value in the process of how you communicate. But I think if I were to identify what your superpower is, I would say it's energy.
Oh, well, thank you. I get that a lot. People say I'm electric.
I would say it's energy. You are electric. And so I'm curious, is this a natural thing for you? Or how do you set yourself up on a daily or a nightly basis to show up consistently at this level every single day?
Well, thank you. I have always been blessed with high energy. I never used to do listen to me, I almost said cocaine.
I was going to say, wait a second. This is not that show yet.
I was talking about drugs earlier. I swear to God, I've never done cocaine. I've never used caffeine until I started that product that I was mentioning after the show. And so I was like, oh, I like caffeine. But so no, I've been blessed with high energy. I do live a healthy life. I don't do drugs. I drink a small little bit, maybe once or twice a week, maybe a glass of wine. So I'm not a boozer. I'm not a druggie.
So health is a priority for you.
Health is a big priority. Mental health, I only associate with positive human beings. I disassociate myself from anything negative. But I will say, when I was going through my hard time in my first marriage of 8 years, that wasn't a positive time for me, but I still had the high energy because I think just because my body functions well, because I get enough sleep, I eat well, I eat 3 square meals a day, I don't drink alcohol. Like I said, back then I never did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't smoke or do drugs. And so it was a natural thing. I was blessed. I'm very, very healthy. So now being, a public figure and happen to travel and be on airplanes, now I try every single day to do some sort of activity. And that's mostly yoga. And that's because I'm a brand ambassador for a yoga studio here that they expect to see me, and I love it. And it's been phenomenal for me and my strength. I mean, look, I'm super strong.
Oh, dang.
Whoa.
I don't know if anybody can see that. If you're not watching the video, those guns are dangerous.
But no, I mean, I'm strong, and it's yoga. And so I try to keep myself, like I said, physically strong. And I've got an amazing husband, and I've got 2 amazing children that we keep our house filled with positivity and love. And that's just how I function. And that's why I think I function at a really high level of, I just am happy.
So as you've progressed through your professional career, you've obviously had some success. You've made some great money, which we've talked about. I'm always curious to know, in regards to your wealth building strategies, do you prefer business? Do you like real estate? Do you like stocks? Now cryptocurrency? What is your wealth building vehicle of choice?
I like businesses. Businesses are my thing. My son just graduated from college, and he, before I even knew it, became a realtor. And I was like, oh, I'm a very big believer in like letting your children do what they want to do. And it wasn't really passion. And so I was like, whoa, I was thinking maybe we'd start a business here, or you'd start a business and I'd invest in it. And it just it hasn't happened yet. But so, yes, I'm all about businesses. I like to see a return on the investment that way. And but I'm usually the one running it, but I would trust someone who had my work ethic and my branding and my business model to run a business and support that. So that's what I like to do. My husband's like stocks.
Okay.
But I like to create my own destiny. And, a stock, you're not creating your own destiny. Even though with President Trump being at the realm, we've done very well with our stocks and our investments.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting. And I always like to ask the question because I don't think there is a right or a wrong answer, depending on that person's experiences, their unique skill set, their time and energy that they have to put into that. Kind of depends on what I think might be, and this is a biased opinion, might be the best, investment for them to grow and scale their wealth. Do you guys, how important is making money to you nowadays with where you're at?
Very important. Making money has always been a great motivator. Competition and making money have really been my driving forces behind everything. But now that I'm in a better position where I have money, and it's not about the short term, meaning like I got to go, like yesterday, I'm like, it's Cyber Monday. I should really put out a video, a Cyber Monday, like a sale. Hey, followers, come buy my stuff, free shipping. And then I started thinking, well, should I pack to go to DC more so than worrying about selling maybe 50 books? And I was like, okay, now I have to prioritize. Sure, I need to pack. I need to make sure my house is picked up for my housekeeper to come, that kind of stuff, versus selling the 50 books. Back in the old days, oh, heck no. Dinner's not getting...
The house would have been a mess. You're selling the books.
No, we aren't eating dinner until I make this post.
Yep.
So now I'm in a position where I can pick and choose what I do. If I'm not feeling well and I don't want to step on a stage, I will step on a stage, but like if I don't want to make a trip that's potential good opportunity, I won't do that because I'm at a luxury where I don't maybe have to do it. But making money it's always been my scoreboard. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I love to pick and choose what I do. And so when people I had somebody want me to talk about technology. Okay. I hate technology. That's why I have I love technology and what it does. Like, look at us connecting right now, but I have people behind the scenes putting this up so that I don't have to figure out how to do all this, because that's not my strength. So I said, gosh, I'd love to take your money, but I'd be a hypocrite because I know nothing about technology. And they're like, well, can you, fake it? Like, just get up. Like, really, we want you. But, like, could you kind of pretend? And I'm like, no, because people can tell if I'm lying. And if I can't go up there with 100% confidence and say, I know what I'm talking about, then I'm a fraud. And that's not what I'm about. So I can pass on things that aren't a perfect fit for me or that make my brain smoke, like trying to figure out, like, what, if I had a business that was hiring me to pretend that I liked a politician that I could have given two craps about, I'd never do it because I can't take people's money and not love what I do.
That's a great piece of advice there. Well, as we come into the tail end of the interview, this has been fun.
I know. Is it over already?
I know, time is flying by. I would love to know a couple things, really two last questions. One of your big talks, one of your big, messages is to be unforgettable, which I would say you're pretty damn good at that. So what is maybe one or two pieces of advice, the most important piece of advice for anybody that's really looking to capitalize on an opportunity and how they can be unforgettable for that client, that customer, whoever it may be?
Right. I always say, don't let people ever forget you. So, my job, Matt, even though I wasn't like doing it because it's just second nature for me, is I don't want you to ever have another guest on your show that is better than me or that was, that was like, that made you remember them over me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I want to make sure that I'm putting a stamp like right on your forehead that this is Tana and this is what I'm all about. So I always say, don't let anybody ever forget you. So whether you have to put it in neon lights and like neon signs saying, I'm the gal from the Apprentice, or I'm the motivator that's got high energy, that doesn't take drugs, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Make people remember you. And so everybody does the same as everybody else. And so they come on and, they're going to sit there and not give you anything until you ask them a question, say on a podcast, and you're just like give me something, be different. And I always say to the people that I coach, do the opposite of what the majority of people are doing. So that's how you be unforgettable. If you're a realtor, show up with a cup of coffee. I tell my son, show up in a clean car, open the door for the ladies because nobody's doing that, and show up with a cup of coffee. And he's doing it. And guess what? The women love him. They love that he's spending money on the coffee. And some people have said, I don't drink coffee. And he's like, well, he felt bad. And I said, it doesn't matter. You left an impression. Yeah. Never let anybody forget you. And whether that's in a meeting, whether that's in a job, whether that's in an interview, that's what I say. And you have to find your own individual stamp. Like my stamp might not be your stamp. Right. Your stamp might not be isn't going to be my stamp. And so it's, what do people say? God, Matt, you're the coolest dude that I met. Like you seem like the type of guy I'd want to go have a beer with tonight. Well, thank you. And we should. I'll meet you in DC. All right. Save me a seat. Yeah. Well, this has been a really fun interview, and I always love to kind of cap things off just to get your perspective, to share your insight, your mindset around wealth building, the importance of it. So what does wealth mean to you, and why do you feel it's so important to make wealth building a focus for people to enjoy a rich and fulfilling life? Well, I feel like, money solves a lot of problems. And I learned that in my life, when I was a single mother, if I didn't have a savings account, I would be worried about how I was going to put food on the table. And so money does solve a lot of problems. And there's really not a problem that exists that money can't solve. Mm-hmm. And so I've always lived this way, that, money is independence. And I want to know that I have got money or wealth built up, God forbid, for a rainy day. God forbid one of my children were to get sick, or I'd get sick, or my husband would get sick, or my parents would get sick. Like, I want to be able to take care of and provide for any situation that could come our way. I'm not looking for it. I'm not putting it out in the universe, but without wealth, you're so strapped to being insecure and to being scared and not living your greatest life.
Yeah.
So I'm always a big believer of, live beneath your means. I've always lived beneath my means. I have never cared about what I have. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love nice clothes. So I don't want anybody out there that's watching going, she's such a liar, But let me tell you what, you never see Bill Gates wearing Gucci. You don't see the rich people wearing the cool stuff and the beautiful belts and the Louis Vuitton, and you don't see the rich women carrying the Louis Vuitton bags. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I've never been one that feels like I have to show people that I'm rich. I just want to live a rich life, and I want to have my bank account strong and have a lot of zeros behind it for a rainy day, and to be able to take care of the people that I love and be able to not have to worry. Because when you worry, one, it makes you ugly. It makes you older. It makes you ugly. And worrying just takes away from your life, and it takes away from your soul and your spirit and your light. And wealth, to me, it solves all of that. And I'm not saying you have to be a millionaire, but that's great if that's your goal. And that's been my goal. But you know what? Just having food on the table, shoes on your feet, money in the bank account in case somebody should break a tooth or, God forbid, break their arm, that would be the least worst scenario. But you got to be able to prepare for a rainy day. And I've always lived my life that way. And I've always been very, very lucky and successful in that regard. I haven't had to worry about too much.
Well, Tana, it has been an absolute pleasure and honor to have you on the show today. I got to say, if I were to rate you amongst guests with energy, you're at the top, girl. You are at the top. So you are definitely going to be an unforgettable guest, and your wisdom, your journey, your approach to life is something that I know anybody can pick and pull from and apply to their own journey and allow that to serve them based on their unique set of skills and their path that they're on. So I want to share my gratitude with you, and especially since you rearranged your flight to go hang out in DC for a dinner, a special invite with the President of the United States. I feel honored. And for those that want to know more about you, obviously we got heytana.com. But where can they find you? Where can they see some of these funny Instagram videos, or what's the best place for them to connect with you?
I think let's have them go to Instagram, and I'm at Hey Tana, which is like as if you were to see me on the street, you go, Hey Tana, HEYTANA. And I'm on Twitter at the same, Hey Tana. I'm on Facebook, Tana Goertz, and I've got the blue check next to me. There's a couple posers I hear that aren't me, but you'll see a picture of me in front of the White House with the white dress on. That's me. So all the social media platforms I'm on, I get back to people. Instagram and Twitter are my main means right now. Facebook, I just getting a lot of, I don't want to see what you're eating for dinner. I really don't. So I'm not as engaged there, but I love to connect with people. And I thank you. You were so sweet, and this has been so awesome. And I'm sure my fans will love to get to know you a little bit better as well.
The pleasure was all mine. Safe travels. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Well, that does it for today's interview with Tana Goertz. What'd you think? Leave me a comment in the show description below. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to drop a line in the Millionaire in the Making Facebook group. Tana, like I said, no matter what you think of her, the girl brings energy. If you watch this on YouTube, she constantly has a smile on her face. And I love that about her, and free of judgment. I didn't vote for Donald J. Trump, that's for sure. But I can definitely respect her hustle, her grind, and the way she shows up and plays full out in everything that she does. And everybody that says that about her, and I think you can obviously see why. And here's the thing that I always find interesting about people like Tana, because I know a handful of people that are very similar to her kind of personality style. She'll either rub you the right way or rub you the wrong way, right? And oftentimes people who have great success, they are polarizing. They either resonate with certain people or they are, repulsive to some people. And I remember hearing one of my mentors say, you're not here to serve everybody. You're not here to be liked by everybody. So get the hell over that first and foremost. But secondarily, you want to be polarizing enough. You want to be, so convicted in your message and what you stand for, who you stand for, that you are either going to repulse people or you're going to attract people like a magnet. And that's always stuck out with me. So she kind of reminded me of somebody like that, but really fun conversation with her. And like I said, if feel free to, leave a comment down below in the show notes or in the Millionaire in the Making Facebook group. If you aren't subscribed on YouTube yet, we're dropping, millionaire interviews each and every day, entrepreneurial habits, tips, successes, tutorials, real estate investing news. A lot of fun, right? Getting out and traveling, having some fun, getting into some trouble. So I would love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Feel free to join us in the Millionaire in the Making Facebook group. If you haven't joined that, just search it up. And we got people, entrepreneurs, business owners from all around the globe that are focused on having these kind of conversations, right? That want more out of life, want more in their business, and are actively seeking it. But we just don't get to have these kind of conversations on a daily basis because it's not what the societal norm or what the majority of people are focused on. So we are the 1% in the globe, and I would love to invite you to be a part of that conversation and community, Millionaire in the Making Facebook group. If you want more business checklists, tools, investing resources, always uploading new stuff onto the website, mattaitchison.com or millionairemindcast.com. I think they all link up together somewhere on some page. But overall, just a fun topic. And she got me fired up. And that's one thing that I appreciate about Tana. So as we wrap up, I think that's, it for this week on the Millionaire Mindcast. Just remember, keep focusing on investing in yourself each and every day, 1% better every single day. Those little things compound over time, right? So keep investing in yourself, keep investing in your wealth on your march to $1 million and beyond. Cheers, my friends.